it's Miss Sherlyn with the Wayne County Public Library, and I'm the Children's Librarian. And today starts our second week of our Christmas in July. So for this week's Christmas theme, we're going to do reindeer. And we all have a favorite reindeer. Can you guess who it is? Rudolph. Rudolph the reindeer is my favorite. You may have a different one. That's okay. So the first story that we're going to read is The Littlest Reindeer. And it's written by Mariah Butterfield and illustrated by Andrea Huskovich. It was Christmas Eve at the North Pole, far, far away, where Santa had his snowy home. Santa's biggest, strongest reindeer were getting ready to pull his sleigh. It was nearly time to deliver Christmas presents to every sleeping child everywhere in the world. Santa's smallest reindeer was called Rory. He wanted to go on the journey too. "Can I help pull your sleigh?" Rory asked Santa, but he shook his head. "Not yet, little one. You must wait until you are big and strong," he replied. Soon, the sleigh was loaded up with sacks full of presents, and everyone was ready. Everyone except for Santa. "Wait a minute, I'll just go and give my boots a quick shine," he called to his reindeer sleigh team, and he dashed back into his house. While he was gone, Rory crept over to the sleigh. I wonder what presents the children are going to get this year," he thought to himself, and he climbed onto the back of the sleigh just to take a quick peek. Do you think Rory's going to get in trouble? I hope not. He stuck his little reindeer nose into each one of the present sacks, and he was being so nosy he didn't see Santa coming back. And Santa didn't see him either. "Giddy up! Christmas is coming!" Santa cried, and he pulled on the reins of the sleigh. "Wait!" Rory squeaked from the back, but nobody heard him as the sleigh slid across the snow and took off into the sky. Rory wondered how to tell Santa that he was riding on the sleigh after all. Meanwhile, the sleigh sped higher and higher. It zigzagged between the stars. It went so high it even crossed in front of the man in the moon, and he smiled and said hello. But then, "Oh no, oh dear," cried the man on the moon. "Hold on tight, Santa. I think I've got some reindeer fur up my nose. Achoo!" The giant sneeze blew the sleigh this way and that like a boat on a stormy sea. Santa tumbled over backward over the sacks of presents and dropped the reins. Quick as a flash, Rory leapt up and caught hold of them in his little antlers. You think Rory's helping save the day? I think so too. "Rory! Oh, whatever are you doing here?" Santa cried. I didn't mean to come. It was an accident," Rory replied. He was afraid that Santa would scold him for being naughty. "Well, I'm very glad that you came. You even saved my sleigh," Santa smiled. "Welcome aboard." For the rest of the night, Rory helped Santa. He looked after the sleigh while Santa went off to deliver presents. He helped to steer the sleigh round towers and tall buildings, and he even sang songs about Christmas with Santa as they weaved their way around the world. At last, Santa's work was done. He turned the sleigh around and flew back to his snowy home at the North Pole. "Thank you for all of your help, Rory. I did this year's trip in a double quick time, and it was twice as much fun." He looked around and saw that Rory, his littlest reindeer, was curled up fast asleep in the back of the sleigh. Rory didn't wake up when Santa lifted him out of the sleigh and carried him home to bed. He didn't even wake up when Santa gave him his own little red hat and whispered quietly in his ear, "You may not be the biggest, strongest reindeer at the North Pole, but you are always the most helpful. From now on, I will always take you with me on my sleigh." And he flicked a magic spell from his fingers and sent happy Christmas dreams to Rory and to every sleeping child everywhere on Christmas Eve. And there's little reindeer. There's a cute little scene. the end. I hope you all liked that. That was such a good story. So for our next little thing we're going to do, we're going to talk about the reindeers, okay? So we'll go over the names of them too. It took me a while to learn it. So we have Santa's reindeers. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there's Santa's sleigh. I think we're missing one. And we have 8 reindeer. Okay, so here's how this is going to go. We're going to count to 5, okay? So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then stand beside the sleigh. We got to hurry up and stand beside the sleigh. So we're just going to put our fingers next to it. Hurry, Santa, said the 5, so we won't be late. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Please wait. We have to wait for 3 more reindeer, and then that will make, how many do you think that makes? 8. We have 8 reindeer. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now we're going to go over the names. So we have Dasher and Dancer, Prancer and Vixen, Comet, Cupid, Donner, and Blitzen. I'm going to go over it one more time. So we have Dasher and Dancer, Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid, and Donner and Blitzen. And our favorite one, Rudolph, but he is not on our board today. So I hope you all liked that and had fun with that. We thought this would be a cool program to celebrate Christmas a little bit early. We'll read some more Christmas stories. And then I hear that Santa and Mrs. Claus are going to make a special appearance just so you can see them at their favorite vacation spot next week. So that'll be really fun and interesting to watch because I'm curious on where they went for vacation. So for our next little thing we're going to read Mistletoe. This is such a cute story. And it's written by Margie Palatini, and the pictures are illustrated by Henry Cole. I think they both did a really good job. 'Twas the season, and Moose was merry. He joyfully tickled ivories with a tuneful of tidings and a flurry of fa-la-la-las, and he was so full of ho-ho-hos, even his moustache had the holiday spirit. But Moose was more than just a bit merry and bright. He was busy, busy, busy. There was a lot to be done on his list of to-dos. But with orderly organization, a bit of regimentation, lots of imagination, and just plain old Moose know-how, getting ready for the big day should have been simple, easy, yes, in all probability just perfectly perfect. He wasted not one merry minute. Moose got moving and put some hustle into the holiday bustle. He went to work. He wrote cards and letters until his hooves hurt. Check. He shopped until he dropped. Check. He hauled home boxes and bags and presents galore. Moose had gifts for everyone stacked from the ceiling all the way to the floor. Check, check, check. And then he wrapped, yo, yo, yo. And he ribboned, ho, ho, ho. And on each and every package, he tied a big, beautiful bow. Check and double check. So far, so simple, so easy, so perfectly perfect. Another look at the list, and Moose headed for the kitchen. He pulled out the pots and the pans and the bowls, sifted through stacks and racks of cookbooks. He whisked with his left hand, and he spooned with his right. Moose baked tons of tins of cookies, check. Dozens of cakes and breads and sweets, check, check, check. He made jellies, sticky jams. Moose roasted a goose and some chestnuts. He toasted marshmallows and yams. Check, 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 triple check. Yes, yes, so simple, so easy, and of course, so perfectly perfect. decorations were up next on his list of things to do and get done. So Moose decked the halls, then spruced up the walls. He beaded and bowed and mousel-toed. He gathered garlands, roped wreaths, and holly, jingled bells, sang noels. Oh, good golly, this Moose was jolly. Check, 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 check. Check. Last but not least, he hung all his stockings, each and every one with special care. And just in time, too, because soon Santa would be there. Check and final check. Yes, sirree, getting ready for Christmas was an absolute snap. And so simple, so easy, and if he did say so himself, Moose thought totally, utterly, completely, perfectly perfect. On that night before Christmas, Mother, little Sissy, Bucky, and Junior looked all through the house. What a job Moose had done. Everything looked so bountiful, festive, quite fine indeed. There's just one minor problem, if you will. You see what the problem is? Oh dear, sighed the Miseries as the five stared at one empty corner. Oh my, oh me, oh golly gee. Pop, what happened? Cried Junior. You forgot the tree. Oops, where would they hang the tinsel, string the popcorn, light the lights? Where would Santa leave the gifts for the kiddies on Christmas Eve night? So Moose pulled on his galoshes and put on his hat. He would find a tree somewhere, somehow, and that's all there was to that. So out went the Moose, braving blustery blowing winds and the cold, and trudging through snowdrifts, courageous and bold. I sure hope he finds a tree. Moose first hoofed it down to the corner, not a tree to be had, and then he slid around the block. Uh-oh, things were looking bad. He went down every boulevard, street, and little road. He looked down alleys and lanes. Every tree had been sold. There wasn't a branch, not a twig, not even one lousy bolus bough hanging around. Nope, nada, nothing, no tree to be found. No tree, sighed a sad Moose as he came home empty-handed that snowy eve. The kids tried to make the best of it. They said, who needs a tree? But Moose could plainly see they were short on the glee. He knew he had to do something, and that's just what he did. In the empty corner he stood and spread his arms out very wide, and then he smiled at his children and winked at his bride. Kids, he declared, bet your forgetful pop some of that tried and true family glop. So back came the kids carrying a big pot of glue, and without a word to one another, they knew just what to do. They each took apart, grabbing strands, taking hold, and then carefully, oh so carefully, they glopped and they plopped, they pasted and they pressed. They curled and twirled every which way a follicle could fathom until Moose's magnificent mustache was indeed even more of a marvel to see. Moose was just a few needles shy of being an evergreen tree. They strung Moose with lights from his head to his toes and draped him with tinsel beginning right with his nose. They hung balls that were shiny and bells that twinkled, candy canes, berries, and plums, sugar sprinkled. And then they all stood back. Junior plugged in his pop. Ooh, ah, yes. Moose truly was one incredible sight. He was glorious and glowing, and boy, oh boy, was he ever bright. Then Junior placed a star on top of Moose's head, and he gave him a kiss and a pat, and they all headed off to bed. Except Moose, of course. He stayed in the corner instead, still twinkling and blinking and waiting for Santa. Oh, so it wasn't so simple, and it wasn't so easy, and okay, it wasn't so perfectly perfect, but do you know what? It was pretty close. Ho, ho, ho. I hope y'all like that story. That one was super cute. So our next thing we're going to do, we have Rudolph. And you're going to have to tell me what colored nose that Rudolph has. Every time that I change it out, because we got to know. Okay, so here is one antler that we have. Whoop. It may fall. It's just being silly. There's another one that we have. And here is good old Rudolph. We'll just twist that in there a little bit. And we'll twist that side in there a little bit. There's our Rudolph. Okay, so let me get my colors out and I'm going to try and trick you all. So you have to make sure you're paying attention, okay? Okay, Rudolph, Rudolph, what will you do? You can't guide Santa if your nose is... What color is that? Is that the right one? No, that's blue. Okay, Rudolph, Rudolph, you're such a silly little fellow. Who will know it's you if your nose is... What color is that? It's yellow. That's not the right color. We have a yellow nose. Rudolph, Rudolph, your way cannot be seen through the wintry weather if your nose is... What color your nose is that? Good job. It's a green nose. We can't do that if it's green. Rudolph, Rudolph, Santa gave a wink. Oh, but what will Santa think if your nose is... What color is that? Good job. That's a pink nose. That's not the right nose that Rudolph has. Rudolph, Rudolph, it's time to fly at night, but you're quite a sight because your nose is... What color is that? It's white. Good job. That's not the right nose either. Rudolph, Rudolph, it's time to go to town, but Santa's wearing a frown because your nose is... What color nose is that? What color is Rudolph? Good job, brown. We have a brown nose. That's not right. Rudolph, Rudolph, Santa has his sack, but you're not ready because your nose is... What color is that? Good job. Wrong color again, but it's black. We have black. Wrong nose. Rudolph, Rudolph, the children are in bed, and I know you're ready now because your nose is red. Good job. We have the right nose now because Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer. It wasn't all the other colors. And we'll sing Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer right quick if you are ready. And if you don't know the words, you can just listen to me and then we'll sing it together. So here we go. Are you ready? So we have... Let me get my little Rudolph. Rudolph. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose. And if you ever saw him, they would even say it glows. All of the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games. Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him, they even jumped to shout with glee. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history. And that's what we're going to make. I'll read our next story and I'll show you how to do that. But you can sing that at home. And this story that we have is, this is Olive, the Other Reindeer. And it's such a cute story. I love this story. It is, let's see, I'll have to find the title page. Olive the Other Reindeer. And it is written by J. Otto Siebold and Vivian Walsh. It's illustrated by the J. Otto Siebold, but they both wrote the story. And this is Olive the Other Reindeer. Every day, Olive took her daily dog walk, winter, spring, summer, or fall, and today was Winter's Day. It was the holidays. There was music playing outdoors, and people were singing, All of the Other Reindeer. Olive was too shy to sing. She hummed. Back at her doghouse, Olive was wrapping presents and listening to the radio. She heard that same song again. All of the other reindeer, went the song, and Olive sang along. Olive the other reindeer. And here she goes again. Olive the other reindeer, said Olive. I thought I was a dog. I must be a reindeer. It was that time of year when all the reindeer reported to the North Pole to help Santa Claus. Olive put down her scissors carefully and marched out the door. She took one bus and then she took two buses. She got there just in time. Santa was checking his list for the second time. Elves were busy helping the reindeer and loading the sleigh with presents for all of the good girls and boys. Everyone was getting ready to go. Olive took her place. Santa noticed that there was a little dog in the lineup. Santa knew a lot about little dogs. For instance, they can't fly. But as it was time to go, he decided to give Olive a chance. Comet, the biggest reindeer, used a piece of extra ribbon to make sure Olive was tied in safe and tight, and now they were ready to go. Olive was surprised. It was so easy to fly. The other reindeer were very curious about the new helper. They looked at Olive so much. They weren't watching where they were going. Oh no. Crash! They flew smack into the top of a too-tall tree. Oh dear, said Santa. My sleigh is stuck in this tree and I'll have to cut it free. Olive clung to the side of the tree. She tried to fly up to help Santa, but she could not. She climbed up slowly and started chewing. Chewing sticks was something Olive could do well. Thank you, Olive, said Santa Claus as they got back on their way. They had not traveled far when Olive's nose began to twitch. Olive smelled trouble. It was the smell of gumdrop candies as they fell from the sleigh. Drop, drop, drop. Olive barked and Santa knew what to do. He steered the reindeer down and around so that all the gumdrops fell, plop, 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 back into the toy sack. We were very lucky to not lose a single gumdrop, thought Olive. And then she heard a strange sound. It was the musical note, ee! Then she spun around on her string to see the night sky filled with falling flutes. Olive had to howl louder than the wind instruments. This was not music to Santa's ears. First gumdrops and now flutes, thought Santa. That tree must have torn a hole in my sled. Prepare for an emergency landing, Santa shouted. The sleigh landed in a snowy field full of flutes. Luckily, Olive was very good at fetching sticks. It is something dogs love to do. Before Santa had finished patching the hole in the sleigh, Olive had returned each and every flute back to the sack. Ho, 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 said Santa. We're ready to go. They were running late, but after a while, all the good children received their presents and Santa and his team headed home. They were almost home when they got caught in a dreaded North Pole fog. The reindeer slowed down until it was only the breeze that moved them along. The fog was thick as a pillow. It made everyone feel sleepy. And then Santa remembered something about dogs. They are expert smellers. Olive, I hate to be late for breakfast this year, he said. Mrs. Claus has planned a parade of cookies. You can almost smell them, can't you? Olive could smell the cookies. Olive, won't you guide my sleigh this morning? Asked Santa. Olive moved to the front of the reindeer. Thanks to Olive's nose and Mrs. Claus's baking, they made it all the way back to the North Pole. All the elves sung out a cheer. Hooray! Hooray! Santa and the reindeer and the little doggy are back! Back at the North Pole, it was a glorious morning. After eating lots of good food, it was time to open up presents. The reindeer got jump ropes and the elves got toy trains. And Santa reached into his toy sack. There was just one present left. It was for Olive. It was her very own set of reindeer antlers. They fit perfectly. And then everyone went outside to play reindeer games. The end. That was one of my favorite stories, so I hope you all really enjoyed that. So what we're going to do for our craft on reindeers, you'll get one of these little hats in your bag and you'll color it, and it'll already have the nose on there. And then you'll have 2 long pieces of thin poster board, and you can tape them if you have tape at home, staple them, glue them, and then you make yourself a little hat like this. And you'll have some other fun stuff in your bag too, like we have some little squishy reindeers that you can paint. Just make sure they sit out in the sun. I wouldn't use markers because they're kind of rubby, and if you use them, they may run on your hand. Or you can set them up in your room. And then we have some sticker sheets and some coloring pages. So I hope you really enjoyed this fun little reindeer craft and the stories that we had for our Christmas in July event that we're doing. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you all have a good day.